What's up YouTube, it's Beautiful Flex, and in this video I'm going to be responding to this comment. It reads, bro, can you make a video on how to start boxing training at home? Okay, so first things first, I won't be referring you to my program, my pugilist program, because likely you're trying to save up on money by not going to the gym. So there's no point in me trying to say, hey, yo, buy this. All right, so I'm just not going to do that. I do want to say, get realistic. You can learn boxing from home, some to a degree, right? But you're only going to get so far. You can't get to world champion level at home. You can't get to amateur champion level at home. You can't even get to your first fight with training simply from home. All right, so just understand that there's only so far you can come with training from home, just so you get that right. But you can learn a lot though, right? I just do want to make that clear as well. You can actually learn a lot. You can learn your shape, how to hold your shape. You can learn proper footwork. As long as you do these things I'm gonna outline in this video, you can learn your punches properly. When I started boxing, I didn't actually focus on learning how to properly throw all my punches. I only had the jab and a cross really, and an overhand that wasn't properly thrown. Other than that, my hooks weren't there, my uppercuts weren't there. I've only actually recently been working on, well, recently is in speaking of the past year, been working on my actual hooks. So since January, February, I've been working on my hooks, right? I wasn't actually comfortable throwing hooks, so I've been working on them, and I've actually found a lot less wrist injuries from actually just working on my form, something that I hadn't done for over a year and a half of boxing training. But once I started working on that from home, that's something I could do in my own time, and it has improved. Even my uppercuts, I wasn't throwing uppercuts, and the ones I was throwing weren't with good form. Started working on them, and that's something I was able to do from home. So that's something that you can do. You can learn from boxing at home just through use of the things I'm outlining in this video. Alongside that, you can get proper form, you can learn proper footwork, but obviously just the basics, because you can't necessarily apply it when in an actual fight or in an actual sparring session. All right, so just wanted to make that clear. You might not have a boxing gym at your disposal, but you do have YouTube, and YouTube can teach you a whole bunch of stuff. I trained alone as a kid from home, and I didn't do it with no coach. Or my sprint training or my jump training, all of that, all the calisthenics was just through using YouTube, right? So you can do the same when it comes to boxing, of course, as I said, at the basic level. And there's a few channels I will recommend. Number one, Hybrid Warrior Training. This is a gem. Just check out the channel. I don't even need to describe it too much. Just check out the channel. It's an amazing channel, and you can learn a whole bunch from this channel. Number two, I'll say is Fran Sands. He's a British boxing coach. A great channel. He doesn't have the most entertaining delivery, but he does have a whole bunch of knowledge that you can learn from. And then number three, and I put this at number three not because it's not as good as the other two, it's actually simply because it's kind of a level above in my opinion, and that's Kepner Boxing. Great channel, I love watching his videos, but you might not learn the most at the very beginning stages. All right, so just to make that clear. The next thing I'm gonna say is crucial. Make sure that all your boxing training is done using a mirror. Of course, not if you're sparring or if you're running, but like when you're training technique, when you're learning, especially at this beginning stage, use a mirror. Look into the mirror. You don't have a coach to watch you, so watch yourself. Make sure that you're not picking up bad habits, because this is crucial. It is crucial that you use proper shape and that you do not learn bad technique, because if you do, it will take ages to rewrite that, and then you will actually, this time that you're spending training from home until you hopefully do get to a gym, will actually be in vain, or actually do bad things to you, because you've learned the wrong stuff basically. So make sure that you are watching the mirror, so that you can make sure that wherever YouTube videos that you're watching, you're emulating the form of what they are displaying to you. So definitely use the mirror. I used to not use a mirror when I used to shadow box, and I learned a lot of bad things. So I'd go to the gym, my coaches would tell me something, but I couldn't actually pick up on it myself, until there was one time when I was watching a video. I filmed a video for YouTube of me shadow boxing, and it was only on that video of me watching it that I realized I was doing something wrong. And then I started watching myself in the mirror, and I was able to rectify those things basically, but it was only from watching myself in the mirror. Okay, now what do you need to learn? Number one, stance. All right, so focus on learning your stance first. Your proper foot placement, how wide they should be, how bladed they should be, how far apart. Focus on looking through your eyebrows, therefore having your chin down, and then also on having a proper guard. It's going to be the basic guard for now, right? You're not going to develop no style yet, but focus on that, right? Learn that. That's the first bit. Yet again, search it up on any of those three channels, or maybe other channels if you have a preference, but search it up. You'll find a good basic video, that can explain that for you, right? Next up is footwork. So work on just the basics, stepping forward and stepping backwards, then stepping side to side. That's simple. Not pivots yet, just literally stepping forwards, opening your stance, closing your stance, opening your stance, closing your stance, then stepping backwards, opening, closing, side to side. When you step to the right, starting with your right foot, then bring your left foot. When you step to the left, doing the same thing. All right, do that first. Only later on can you then add in like pivots and stuff like that, but for now, keep it basic. All right, and then make sure that you are holding your shape as you're moving around. Next up, work on your straight punches. So work on your jab, then work on your cross. Okay, so make sure that you're throwing it with proper form. As I said, look in the mirror, make sure that you're keeping the other hand up, protecting your chin, and make sure that you're fully straightening your arm as you punch, right? So find a simple video that will detail that for you, all right? How you properly rotate, right, as you're throwing the punches, but ensure that you work on it like that. So first you've got your stance, you got your footwork, now you're throwing your straight punches. Next up, you want to work on your straight punches with your footwork, all right? So walking forwards as you're throwing punches, then working on walking backwards as you're throwing punches, walking to the left, then walking to the right. It is that simple. After you've got that down and you're very comfortable with the basics of that, you now want to work on head movement. All right, so just standing still in your stance, not with footwork yet, just in your stance, work on slipping. Work on your slipping side to side, your pulling and your rolling, all right? Work on that. Okay, get really comfortable with that before you move over to the next step, which is straight punches with head movement. So throwing a jab, then slipping back to your left, or throwing a cross and then rolling to your right, or slipping to your right. But work on that. As I said, watch the videos, find videos on YouTube, watch yourself in the mirror, and you can emulate what you're seeing on the videos to make sure that you're actually practicing or exercising proper form. All right, after you get comfortable with it, you then want to add in footwork. So straight punches, head movement with footwork. Okay, only after you've become really comfortable with that can you move over to the next step, which is adding in hooks. So first add in hooks in the same process that you did when it comes to the straight punches, and then after getting comfortable with your hooks, then work on your uppercuts and add them in. At this point in your training, you're going to start shadowboxing. So far, you've technically been shadowboxing. You've just been drilling punches as if you're using pads in a way, right? As if your coach is holding pads and you're just hitting the pads essentially, right? But now you want to be shadowboxing, not necessarily visualizing a fight, but just practicing combinations, all right? Not visualizing an opponent in front of you, which is actually what shadowboxing is, but actually just rehearsing punches as if you are hitting pads. But I do want you to make sure that now you are filming yourself. So you can still look in the mirror, but just film yourself so that you can critique yourself and look out for mistakes that you might be making and good things that you might be doing so that you can keep doing those things and rectify the mistakes. All right, watch it back frame by frame. Next up is partner drills. All right, so you can actually now start pretty much sparring, but in a safer way, where you're basically doing shoulder taps. Get a friend of yours who hopefully has been doing this process with you, so that they're not like a lower level than you or a drastically lower level than you, and just do shoulder taps. Right, tap each other's shoulders, treat it as though you're sparring. Then you can start doing knee taps as well. Right, that helps you work on your footwork, and then do shoulder and knee taps. Right, so you get good at your distance awareness, your range, all of that. Now, if you can, join a gym. All right, you've gotten to a good level now without boxing. You've learnt your punches. You've got good technique to a degree. You've got the basic footwork down. Ideally, at this point, I would say join a gym if you can do. If you still can't do and you still want to keep training from home, by all means, right? But ideally, you would at this point join a gym. If you're not joining a gym, keep working on that footwork, but now you can start adding in the pivots. All right, now you can start varying your footwork a little bit more, all right, so that you're more advanced, right? You probably would have got a bit more comfortable with pivots without even realizing whilst doing the partner drills, but now you want to drill it down, right? These are your fundamentals. Now, boxing is a sport which necessitates another person, so you will need sparring. If you can get that in the gym, that's ideal. If you can't and you're willing to dare to do it without a gym and just have a friend, this is the protocol. All right, first things first, just use half power or even less. Focus on straightening your hands, right? Like full using good technique, but don't put any spite into your punches. That's number one. Number two, when you do start, just use jabs first. All right, so literally just jab each other. Don't focus on 1, 2, just full on sparring, just jabs for the first few sparring sessions, maybe for the first week. The next time, focus on using straight punches, any straight punches, but potentially just throwing single shots at a time, right? So just a jab or just a cross, just a jab, just a cross, but just singles, no combinations. After that, work on throwing combinations. So work on throwing a 1-2, right? Just doubles basically. So throwing a 1-2 or 2-1 or double jab or 2 backhands, right? But no more than that. Just 2 punch combination and straight punches. Then work on your 3 punch combination. And then eventually, once you get comfortable with that, work on just 3, any combination you want, as long as it's just straight punches. And after you get comfortable with that, you can start adding hooks and uppercuts. It is crucial that, for one, you don't go for the kill, because you're not going to be learning if you're trying to hurt each other, right? Especially without a coach, you're not going to be learning. So do not do that. Don't make it a fight. Don't make it a brawl either, right? You want to be learning how to box, not necessarily how to fight. Okay, you can do all that stuff once you have a gym to make sure you're still doing it responsibly, but just not on your own, right? Box, do not brawl. Alongside that, I do want to say you likely will not develop a proper style for yourself. You won't develop what are your strengths and your weaknesses. You won't fully come to an understanding of that because you haven't had enough sparring with different types of people at different skill levels, at different ranges, at different reaches, at different speeds, at different endurance levels. You haven't had that to actually come to an understanding of what your style will be. For me, I've sparred plenty of people who are a lot better than me, who are a lot worse than me, who are the same level as me, who are a lot taller than me, not many that are shorter than me, but many people that are the same height as me, faster people, slower people, all of that, right? So I've gotten to an understanding of what works well for me, which has helped me to come to a style of some sorts that works well with me. You won't get to that point likely working from home, basically, right? So if you can get to a gym, you've gotten to a good level of what you can do at home, but you do need to graduate and go to the gym and actually put all that together and learn how to box for real. I hope this video helped you out. It's B4Flex. I'm out.